Welcome to Bill and Rob's An Excellent Adventure. I'm Bill Tilley.
And I'm Rob Schulte. Bill, we're back at it again. Capping off this spooky season of Robo-ween on Bill and Rob's An Excellent Adventure with quite possibly the most controversial film of the whole season. Maybe the whole podcast at this point.
I don't know if you would call it controversial or just massively disappointing. I don't think there's any real controversy in this movie.
No, fair.
I don't think there'll be controversy between you and me about what we think of it.
No.
I'm going to go out on that limb right now.
I'm going to be right there with you. Of course, we watched Children of the Corn Revelation from 2001. Bill, what's your experience with Stephen King or the Children of the Corn series, or maybe both?
So I actually have a decent amount of King experience because growing up in the 80s and 90s, I did see stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I did see Pet Sematary. I saw it in college one night for movie night. I saw The Shining. I've seen it, although all clowns are disgusting and scary. So I don't know why they felt they needed to make a movie about it to reinforce that for me. But I've seen Christine, which is my favorite Stephen King movie, if you want to call it that. Yeah, I guess you could call it that. It's the one I would watch over and over again because I'm a car guy, and that's cool.
Sure.
And I've seen The Stand. I've seen a couple versions of those things. I've seen Cujo. Like, I've seen pretty much the bulk of the big hitters.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw the original Children of the Corn on cable at some point, or satellite dish back in the day, but none of the sequels.
Yeah. I, of course, going back to iterations of Pumpkin Spice podcasts past, we did do one season of watching all of the Children of the Corn movies. And I got to tell you, they're all bad, but some are more entertaining than others. Like Ted Travelstead, great comedy writer, has a part in Children of the Corn too. It's great. And so hearing him talk about that, he's friends with my buddy Mike Sachs. And so that was hilarious to just hear those sorts of stories. I think it was Children of the Corn 3 or 4, but there was one where there was a bunch of young adults, late 90s, early 2000s that came to the town, like similar to this one, like that had more gravitas and the entertainment value in my memory than maybe this one, but I think we can get through that. Should I read the back of the box?
I think so. I think we need to take the back of this box and just find out what kernels of amusement lay inside the video cassette.
I completely agree. One thing I should say, just on the Stephen King front, is that I have read or listened to audiobooks of plenty of Stephen King actual writings and watched plenty of movies. Have not read the original story of Children of the Corn. And
neither have I. I've never read any of his stories. My wife's read a few, actually, and for someone that doesn't like horror movies or anything,
okay.
well, books are a little different.
It's true. It's true.
Big time reader, and I'm fully cognizant of the fact that most books don't translate to the screen 100%. They just can't.
Yeah.
But King was different. Like, Stephen King was the master of the macabre, and so when his name and his movies would come up, there was going to be scary stuff in them, but they weren't like splatter fests like Nightmare on Elm Street or Friday the 13th. So he tended to give his movies more attention. And I know I would give them a watch, particularly because they kind of wind up to it,
Yeah.
Especially, I'm pretty sure I've seen Christine at least 3 or 4 times, and probably Misery a couple of times because
hell yeah,
it was in such heavy rotation.
Cock-a-doodle do that or whatever. Anyway, okay, back to the back of the box. Children of the Corn Revelation 2001. Based on the chilling story Children of the Corn by Stephen King, Revelation is the next shocking chapter in this ever popular series of suspense thrillers. When calls to her eccentric grandmother go unanswered, Jamie Lowell is shocked to discover that her grandmother's last known address is a condemned tenement building overrun by uncontrolled children. But as Jamie slowly uncovers the truth behind her grandmother's mysterious disappearance, she merely disturbs a powerful evil that now seeks to destroy Jamie as well. Did you get that watching the movie? I
Hell
kind of
no.
did. I
Nope.
guess.
Not really. This movie it wasn't confusing. It just felt like it wasn't going anywhere in a lot of places, but I'm going to save that for later because this is going to come up
Yes.
officially.
Yes. The movie definitely, I'll put this out there, starts in media ray. Like
Mhm.
it definitely starts like in the middle of the story,
It
uh,
does
almost to its
it's
detriment.
yeah, I mean, it starts
I
out
guess we
with the
get that intro
grandmother.
with grandma, but
Right. We get the intro with grandma who, as the camera pans up, I'm not quite sure what we're running into. It does sound kind of like a softcore porn there for a minute with her
y-
screaming until you find out she's having a nightmare.
yeah,
So
it
I was like,
definitely, it's a choice.
yeah, it is a choice, but what can you do? It's just kind of the way it popped out. But yeah, it moves fast. The grandma's intro and exit from the movie for the foreseeable time frame blows right by, and I didn't have a clue why it was doing it
Yeah,
at all.
same.
So I'm like, all right, we're just in it to win it. So let's keep going, movie.
Let's see what happens. Bill, I'd like us to transition into our first segment, which is, of course, fun facts that I'm titling Popcorn. So, would you like to go first?
Sure. So in doing research for this movie,
Difficult. This
difficult.
one.
There's nothing on the internet really. Next to nothing out there,
Yeah.
and I'm sure there's a reason for that. And the movie was, well, let's just say it didn't inspire me to look too hard, but I love the show and I love working with Rob, so I did the best I could. So I went and watched the official trailer. It was like the first thing I found.
Ooh,
And
love it.
trailers were always big. This movie's 2001. Trailers are still a big seller. You got to see them all in there. And so I clicked on it and it is awful. The trailer for this
What?
movie is it's awful. Um so it starts with Tiffany, the stripper who lives in the building that Jamie meets. It starts with a tub scene with her. So right out of the
Uh-oh.
gate, it sets up your TNA expectations in the way every cheap slasher movie kind of does.
Give
But
the kids
then
what they want.
I guess so, but then it shifts full gear into like a heavy metal music video. It is fast cuts and thrash metal and absolutely no setup of this movie. There's no voiceover explaining what this movie is or why it's happening. There's no movie guy going, they came from the corn and now they live in a condo. Nothing. The only thing you get is 5 words from Ironside at the very end. That's it. And there's no references to the prior movies. I didn't even see any corn in
Yeah.
this trailer. So it's like they couldn't be bothered to flog this franchise one more time for a halfway interesting trailer. It's just kind of set up for disaster. And it makes me think that this movie could possibly have been heavily lifted from some kind of rejected script. That's one of these
Yeah.
movies that's just been scratch out name, write in antagonist, corn kids.
I think that is like with a weekend of reshoots, they potentially turned this into a Children of the Corn movie. And like a month of changing the CGI.
Yeah. And Rob, you're a fan of Columbo, just like I am. And you've
Yes.
seen some of the TV movies like I have. And I think you've seen the couple of the movies that are lifted from Ed McBain scripts where they bought the scripts for the TV movies and just penciled Columbo into them.
Ooh, I don't think I would know which those are, but I'm sure I've seen them.
Watch for them as you move through if you haven't watched all the movies, because I've, of course, seen them up and down. And when they come on, it is such a hard clunk that you just
Mm.
look at it and go, no, this is not a Columbo movie. And I'm just looking at this movie going, no. That's not really a Children of the Corn movie, I
I'm
don't
wondering
think.
if that is like the Columbo episode with the later Columbo episode where there's like the magician's sanctuary and there's like a guillotine and all of
It's
that.
actually not one of those. It's the one where he goes to his nephew's wedding and the bride, gets kidnapped.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
that was an Ed
okay.
McBain movie. And the undercover episode where he goes and all of a sudden Columbo, who's just this lovely little man bumbling around, is undercover slinging gunfire, and
Yeah.
it was a bad choice.
Oh
And that's what
wow.
this thing feels like.
Yeah. Well, my first popcorn is apparently this was intended to be a remake, but
Huh.
I haven't been able to actually verify that, but someone put that on the internet. Uh and or even if it is true, find out what happened between it being a remake and this. But it was 2001, so I have to believe that other things took priority. So like I don't know how far I can go down this rabbit hole because I haven't fully formed this thought. Like it's coming to me right now, Bill. Like, ooh, just one more thing.
It's walking right out of the cornfield straight into our show.
This movie came out in October 9 of 2001. So I'm wondering if they were like working on it. Everything you said, like, we've got to scrap this. We've got to turn it into a Children of the Corn movie. It was going to be a remake, but now it's going to be something else or whatever. And then 9/11 happens, and they're just like, you know what? Let's cut our losses and straight to video this thing with what we have. You've got X amount of time to finish it. Whatever this is, finish it before October 9th so we can just get it to Blockbuster and recoup some of our losses.
That's not a bad theory at all. Not at
Yeah.
all. And I think maybe dovetails into my other fun fact. So
Mm,
we're really putting the red string to the thumbtacks of this
yes.
movie
That's what has to
straight.
happen though sometimes, Bill.
Yeah. So this was a Dimension film. Dimension acquired the rights starting with Children of the Corn 2, and from 93 to 2001 Dimension pumped out 6 Children of the Corn movies, and 2 was the only theatrical release. So all the
Wow.
other ones, including this last one, were direct to video, and it's pretty clear why. So I think even if that hadn't been a driving factor, which I bet you're right, and it was, they weren't really swinging for the fences with these movies at this particular point. And, even not that direct to video is bad, but you've definitely given up on the franchise being a real moneymaker at
Yeah.
all, like any of the first movie could have been. So
Yeah.
they clearly weren't putting their best foot forward and had reduced the franchise to a mere husk of its former glory.
Well, speaking of husks, Bill, you did say that, it was kind of hard to find some fun facts about this, but I have got a fun fact for you, Bill.
Ooh,
Um, maize, also known as corn in North America and Australian English, is a cereal grain first domesticated by indigenous peoples of southern Mexico about 10,000 years ago.
this episode of Bill and Rob's is brought to you by a grant from the Mobile Corporation and our friends at PBS. That's awesome, dude. You rolled right into that in such a way that I was torn between PBS and it almost feels like a Saturday Night Live intro. Well, maize, Johnny, also known as corn. That's awesome.
It also reminds me of that just quick moment in a Beavis and Butthead episode where their hippie teacher is just like, or as the Native Americans called it, maize.
That was like the universal thing for the longest time of a character trying to impart that they're educated and coming off just like they read the back of a
Yeah.
kid's menu at a Friendlies and that was on there.
After failing the maze
Mm-hmm.
with
Can't
their
get out.
crayon.
Damn corn.
Well, Bill, I think it's about that time where we talk about what we liked about this film in a segment I'm calling Elote, because that's my favorite corn dish.
Nice.
You went first last time, so I'll go first this time because I think we both can agree that Michael Ironside might be the only meat on this cob.
Oh, oh, he is definitely the shining beacon of hope. Except you and I have been down this road so many times that when you see him on there and you see his name, you're like, he's going to be in this movie maybe 45 seconds.
And
It's
that was
so sad.
over asking for this one.
Yeah, and
I wonder if you actually count the time, like maybe a minute and a half.
well, he has the scene with Jamie that's a couple of
Sure.
minutes long, but
Sure,
the rest of the movie, he's just mysterious. I started calling him Priest Ironside because he doesn't have a name. And
Mystery Hat Man.
and see what's especially hurtful on this was I hadn't seen it, and I saw his name in the credits, and Michael Ironside is up there with me with a Bruce Campbell or a Rutger Hauer or a Tim Thomerson. When I see his name, I'm thinking, though, here comes my entertainment factor. Whatever this
Jeffrey
movie's going to
Combs.
be, oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And he looks like a priest. There's going to be some kind of. I see Ironside holding two corn cobs together in a cross, and
Ugh.
he's going to go to town at some point and probably die horribly. And yeah, we didn't get that at all. But
No.
for what little bit we did, it really did start to feel like a movie again when he popped on screen. So he's always good to see.
Yeah. It's tough because you, like you said, you kind of know what you're in for, but God, you just knew you kind of just want to be like, hey, everyone, let Ironside take over and just see what happens to this film. You know,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
script is nothing anyway, so just let him turn the cameras on, add a couple more scenes, see what you can do. You're already doing a stitch job with this thing. Get the
Right.
most out of this guy.
And he's a character actor. He's done all the stuff, but he'll bring the Ironside to whatever role he's in. So he'll take a cheap movie and give it his all. So I was
Uh-huh.
kind of hoping for that. I'm like, but if I could have got, maybe he'll be in for a half hour. He'll come in at
Yeah.
the middle or the end, and he'll be the thing that explains it all. And nah, I guess they could only afford him for the day. So
Dream the dream. Maybe there'll be. I think there's still 2, maybe 3 more Corn movies after this. I can't imagine they get any better.
So I listened to your original run in Pumpkin Spice, and
Ooh,
I remember the feeling seemed to be the same feeling you got with the Child's Play movies, was just like, these will never end.
yeah.
They're making them as we speak, almost like you fear for termites in your home. Once you see one, you're like, I can't relax. I know they're in the walls. I just know
Yeah.
it.
Unless you're out here in the desert and they just are subterranean termites, and you just accept that you'll never know that they're living underneath you.
Nope. They'll just build a pit under your whole house.
Yep. And
Nah, they won't do that.
I welcome my termite underlords to the
Oh,
party.
absolutely. Submit to all. That's what I say. Live, live.
Well, Bill, what's an elote on your plate?
One of mine is Corner Wilford Brimley look-alike.
Look-alike.
It look-alike. Yeah.
Asterisk there, yeah.
Yep. There's a scene in the convenience store when the local cops are there and they find themselves a surprise inside the Frosty Freeze cabinet, the clerk's head, and they pan through everything, and it's kind of lackluster. But then the coroner shows up, and my first thought was I could almost tell you he's going to pronounce it diabetes. So
While wearing a big cowboy hat and saying, if you want to win, you gotta hit.
absolutely. It just looked a lot like the vibe was all there. And it was one of those, it's later in the movie. So I kind of latched onto it like a life preserver. And I'm like, come on, Corner, give me more lines, baby. I know you got it in you. He just made me laugh.
Oh, so good. Well, Bill, my other elote is legitimately, I liked that they tried to build out the lore of the film. It may have been a swing and a miss, but they tried. You know, they didn't skew from quote canon, and maybe it would have been better if they did, but they didn't, and they tried to see what it would be like in this area, in this town, with these kids, if it would have kept going. They tried and failed, but I like that there was an attempt, and you can see the kernel of potential with some of the lore they bring up in this, with the newspaper articles and the stories and the kids, and it just doesn't work. But
Yeah,
that's not, I didn't, but I liked the attempt.
yeah, whatever story this started out to be probably would have been better without the injection of corn in the
Yes.
middle of it. So, creepy building with the weird setup, and some demonic crap going on, and there's a town. Like, it had a lot of weird factors. It had a lot of classic horror movie points of interest, and I'm like, okay, this could go. But when they just tried to wedge that corn lore into everything, it
Mm-hmm.
it threw it all off. But you're right, as within reason, they did toe the line with the first movies. Even if I think they might have, I don't know enough about them. I think there's probably some inconsistencies with some of the things they say, but I wouldn't know because I didn't see them all. But it seemed to me like they were following the gist of the first movie in a new way.
Yeah. Inconsistencies in the children's haircuts. We'll put it that way.
You mean where everybody's just got the leftover wigs from Village of the Damned
Yeah.
on all the kids?
Oh, Lordy. Well, Bill, what is your final like / elote?
Well, my elote is a backhanded elote,
Uh-oh.
but it's all I could think of, Robs, because trying to find a like was really difficult.
Hey, I understand. Sometimes you got to finish your veggies.
You do. Sometimes you just got to bite down on that cob as hard as you can and just take what you get. But I liked the end when the CGI house explosion takes place in the big finale, which every one of these movies has got, because it was so bad. I liked that it was bad because if it had been good, that meant they could have made a lot better budget choices, and I would have
Mm.
missed out on a better movie, but I clearly did not. So the movie let me down continuously along the way, and in a way, I feel better for it because now I don't feel bad thinking, "Ah, we could have it could have been so much better." Clearly, they had the money and they chose not to. They just were like, "Nah, we got nothing, so let's just roll with it." So
Yeah. Yeah,
that's the closest I could come.
I totally am with you. You kind of got to like what you like, and you got to sometimes you got to like the poor quality. Let's just
Yeah,
leave it at that, you know?
and I feel like when you save the budget for some big thing, and I get you can save it for the end sometimes, but I think that's a case where if you're making a movie where you've got one big thing that's going to happen, like an explosion, and you can put it in there for the budget, that looks good and it goes with the rest. But when you kind of toe the line of bad, then at least I'm like, all right, this is what it is.
Yeah.
And when the movie's over, it doesn't feel like they tried to trick me into thinking, oh, it was better than you thought. Like, no, we both know it wasn't. So
Yep. Yep.
thanks for being honest with me, kids from the corn.
Well,
That was the
speaking of
real,
honesty, what is
yeah,
that?
that was the real revelation that it was as bad as it was. It stayed as bad as it started out.
Yeah. God, I couldn't say it better myself. Damn these kids. How do I reach these kids, Bill?
Uh,
How do I reach these kids? Well,
Apparently, you
I'll
put
tell
them in
you
a
one
tent
way.
and blow them up.
We got to move on to this next segment. And I know it's hard to believe, but there are things we disliked about this movie, and that's what we're calling frozen corn.
Oh, no fresh rating on the frozen corn.
No, no, no. Would you like to go first, my friend?
Sure. Like you said, this is a movie with a lot of kids in it, but why? I kept asking myself during this movie, why does no one snatch one of these kids up and just shake the truth out of them? Why?
Yeah.
They're not super powered. They're not demons. They're not unholy creatures. They're just little kids.
Yeah.
And they're not even smart little kids. They're just weird little kids running around everywhere. And they're surrounded by adults. Jamie mystifies me because she starts out looking at this creepy kid. And okay, you just met him. You don't want to be too overbearing or too presumptuous, but within 45 seconds, you've kind of got the lay of how these kids work. And she just lets them wander around and creep her out and won't answer her questions. And I know, but this is 2001. You could still get away with a little of this back in those days. And you just like grab one of them and go, come here, you little white haired thing. Tell me what I want to know. But they don't ever do that. And I don't know how the adults just kind of let them kill them in a
Yeah.
lot of ways. So,
In a lot of ways. Like supernatural
yeah.
stuff aside, like you can get out of there.
Yeah, all of the murder scenes just require the adult to kind of step to the side and leave,
Yeah.
or punch one of these little kids hard enough that they go flying down the hallway. It's
Yep.
it is frustrating, and don't get me wrong, these kids are great. I'm not anti-kid by any mean, but these movie kids, whoa, they earned a whooping out in the cornfield. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
And maybe that's why they're delinquents these days, Bill.
Probably. Well,
The the
nobody
chain
asked.
of the chain of negativity just keeps going on. But these kids are
Yeah,
trying to go up the
they
chain.
are. Yeah, they are. But they're just a bunch of little stalkers.
They oh, ooh, ow,
Leave it
oh,
in, Rob Adler. Leave it in.
yes. Well, Bill, speaking of children, I disliked that the first two children and the kind of like two children would get through the most of the movie are the furthest thing from creepy. I'm not sure what they're supposed like. I, they sit there looking half dead for the first part, and then she like runs into them at the mini mart playing a video game, which feels odd for children of the cornfields. They're playing House of the Dead, which I get that they were probably being like, ha 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 ha. Doesn't land. And then later they're playing like patty cake or something similar.
Uh-huh.
And that feels tone deaf because it doesn't feel like what this, even if they are holding a severed hand,
Exactly. She doesn't even see it.
like it's the furthest thing from it's, you know what it is, it's like, you know, it'd be creepy. It's like in when I had Robin Shore on Vanderpump Robs, she talks about how when they're writing comedy and making a sitcom, right, that there's a joke that works and lands and is really good. And then as you get it on the floor and you're taping the thing, everyone hears the joke so much because they're taking and retaking that someone then generally goes, "Oh, does this joke really work anymore?" And it does, but they've just heard it too much. And so then they kind of go around and be like, "Well, what if we said this, or what if we said that, or what if we said this?" And they see something that ends up making people laugh in that moment, but it's not a joke. It's a joke like substance. And I think that there are a lot of creepy like substances. There's a lot of horror like substances in this movie. It's like they're sitting there going, like, what can we do that's like really like out there and weird and creepy? Oh, we'll have the kids play like deadpanned patty cake while holding a severed hand. Isn't that fucked up? And it's like, no, it's something it's too forced, right?
Right. Yeah, it
Ugh.
just kind of comes across as annoying for me. And I
Yes.
think you're right because it's not creepy. And just telling a small child who you've dressed for some kind of half Amish cosplay for some reason, and it's 2001, and you tell them, "Look, just kind of stare intently, glower a lot, look over your eyelids," and that's not scary. That's
No.
just it's at best it's weird.
And
And
we have
that's
no
how they
reason for those two kids to be like that too.
no, not at all. And I mean, they have their moments where they kind of laugh, and I guess they're supposed to be scary laugh, but but you're right. It's just they're on screen so much doing that one bit that just it doesn't land. And I
No.
don't know, it was, and I'll ask you, especially because you're a gamer, when they go play that video game, do you think they're really scoring any points on that game the way they're shooting those electronic
No.
pistols at the screen?
Not at all. There, it's like when you see the kids on sitcoms are like Home Improvement playing Sega or something. They're like, oh, whoa, I'm moving. It's like no kid ever plays a game like that. They just sit there intently and use their thumbs.
And what did you think when the little girl comes out the first time and she sticks out her hand and she yells, "Kill!" wanting Jamie to give her another quarter? Like, that's the only word she said so far. And you've just come to town. You've just met this little weird kid that you don't know what to do with. And her first words out of their mouth are, "Kill!"
I think we're going to have to really think about how video games are affecting the youth of America.
I'm going to get on that
Yeah.
right away.
Someone should. It's been happening for years. But
Is there a Children of the Corn video game?
Well, looks like I'm going to be doing some research real quick.
Ask Jeeves.
Yeah. Doesn't look like it.
I'm not surprised. But I mean, I think you could make a good one. Chasing them through the cornfields, trying to get your hands on them as they run away because they've got the answers before. I hate to admit it, I've forgotten. Was his name Isaac, the original one from the movie? Yeah, he's the boss.
He who walks behind the rows as well.
Yeah.
I
He's
guess
the
that
final
wasn't
boss.
Isaac necessarily, but yeah.
True.
Yeah. Man, but I got to tell you, Bill, I probably will watch the rest of these Children of the Corn movies at some point. Anyway, give me something else you disliked on this.
Well, the ending. I have my notes in front of me at this very minute, and as I watched this thing get to the end, my last note is just, what was the point of any of the thing? Like, there is a story, like you said, they start building a lore with this film, and they're explaining some things as they go along, but it
You better
doesn't
go
make
ahead and spoil this for the people too, Bill. It
doesn't make any sense. They get to the end. There's the big race with Jamie. All the kids show up in the house. Then I couldn't help it. I knew he wasn't. I don't think he was supposed to be Isaac. I just called him Little Randy Quaid from Kingpin because that's what the devil's spawn dressed up like him shows up, and they're screaming. They want Jamie. They figured out that the one little girl is actually her grandmother, and these are all the kids that apparently died in the revival fire, but they're back. But are they ghosts? And what do they want? They want Jamie for what? And there's a big chase and some very bad examples of how propane and gas does not work on stoves in buildings. And Armbruster shows up for no reason, and they just go through all this rigmarole. And because Armbruster and Jamie manage to jump through the front door, the house explodes like they do, and
I don't suffer no consequences.
No, and so was it to get all the kids together and blow them up because apparently the explosion releases the souls of the people that died? I guess that's what happened. Like,
sure.
I don't know. I just don't know what the hell the kids are trying to do. I just don't know what the hell the kids are trying to do. I don't
I ask myself that every day with these kids, How do I reach these kids?
They don't even have the main actors like look up and go, well, I guess they're free, or apparently that free. Like, it just, and you're kind of done, and their 8 rows of plastic corn catch fire, and movie's over. So
roll generic, didn't have the rights for a Marilyn Manson song credits.
Yeah, so as much as I, kind of bagged on it at the end for staying bad, it could have had a better explanation of an ending. There just is no real point to what they do, and it's another example of the adults just could have pretty much run away at any time and would have been out of danger, but I don't know. So just give me an ending movie. Just don't, even if it had been a bad one, explain it.
Yeah, just attempt to wrap this up in a bow.
Yeah.
Attempt to put some shining on it.
Maybe the script that they borrowed to rewrite, that's all they had, and they couldn't afford to write an ending.
Yeah. Man. Bill, I know we have one more. Well, I'm going to say my last dislike, and then I was looking at the IMDb page, and something popped up to me I should bring up. But
good.
Because my last dislike is something we already talked about, really. Like, Michael Ironside is used for, like, the one line about the grandmother who was supposed to have died in the fire is just a waste. Like, why drag this guy through to like such a nothing payout?
Oh, so true. That line's the one in the trailer.
Yeah.
And when he finally meets with Jamie, he doesn't help her. He gives a little bit of an explanation and just basically goes, "Well, peace out. I'm gone. but I will be here to bury you if you
Yeah.
don't get out of here." So
Don't
he's
worry.
no he's no help. I mean, he's father take it on the lamb as far as I'm concerned. So they didn't even let him be a informational badass or die in a cool way. He's just like, "Nope, bad Yelp review for this condo. You need to split before your credit rating's ruined."
Yep. Um I had said earlier, Bill, that I was thinking of Children of the Corn 4, but actually Children of the Corn 4 is The Gathering, which I actually remember nothing about.
A sign of quality.
Actually, I would just like to take this moment, since it's the season finale, to just read the synopses, if you don't mind, of all of the Children of the Corn movies leading up to this. Because although this is a break in format, I do think people are going to, this will help them understand why this one is even what it is, right?
Get out that ball of red twine and start
Yeah.
putting these together.
It's just so important to this. So gotta find the original real quick. Children of the Corn. A young couple is trapped in a remote town where a dangerous religious cult of children believes that everyone over the age of 18 must be killed. Honestly, pretty good synopsis.
Mm-hmm.
I should go read it. Children of the Corn 2, which I still feel like has the weirdest movie poster ever. But a journalist and his son travel to Nebraska to investigate the mysterious town of Gatlin, where, unbeknownst to them, a murderous cult of children are still waiting in the cornfields. Kind of like your standard Stephen King Pet Cemetery 2, like not Stephen King written sequels,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
Sometimes they come back again.
Yeah. Based on the works of Stephen King.
Yes. Children of the Corn 3, which I remember being an amazing watch, mainly for Chris Brenner of Brenner Information Systems. Two brothers connected to the murderous children's cult of Gatlin, Nebraska, are taken to Chicago by an adoptive couple. So, two of the cults, fish out of water story, right? You can see where that could go.
Sure.
Children of the Corn 4. This is the one I remembered nothing of. The Gathering. All the kids in a town overnight become feverish and have convulsions. The next day, they start to become evil, change their names for those of kids killed long ago, and then start killing any adult in their path in vicious and mysterious forms. A young woman who has just returned to town tries to find out what is happening while trying to protect her transformed while trying to protect her transformed young sister. However, the kids are starting to revive their leader. So that's like a mysterious kids are gone, mysterious cult guy.
Okay.
Now, Children of the Corn 5 is the one I was thinking of. Children of the Corn 5, Fields of Terror.
Awesome.
From 1998. 6 college students on a road trip take a wrong turn and end up trapped in a strangely deserted rural town inhabited by a murderous cult of children. I think that is a good, like, you don't have to know the story. You just know that, like, this town exists. And now, previous to this film, made 2 years earlier, Children of the Corn 666, Isaac's Return. As a teenage girl comes to Gatlin to find her biological mother, the town's infamous cult plots a comeback as their leader Isaac awakens from a coma. So all of these seem similar, and then we get this film where it seems to have no connection at all. Maybe 4 is the one that veers off track the most anyway, but wild.
I don't, but you can see the thread
Yeah,
all the
grandmother,
way
grandmother.
through. And
Yeah.
I personally like the franchises and have a better chance of liking something about all of them if they keep that thread and do something new or different they haven't done, or go to a different setting and work within the confines of how you do things in the city versus the cornfield.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you don't have to really know. Like me, I just know the gist of the series because I've seen the first movie and then I saw this movie, and just from that, a movie I probably saw 25 years ago, I watched it and went, I don't think so. This
Yeah.
isn't right. I don't know what you're doing. So you managed to confuse even me, the one who doesn't know much about
Walks in front of the
anything.
rose?
And if you did that, and if you, I see none of these movies, which you and I can't say because we're hampered by this, what would somebody who's never seen one of these movies think of? Because they can all be somebody's first movie.
Yeah, it's true.
I just wonder if it helps or hurts. I'm probably guessing that it would help a little bit.
Yeah. Listeners, write in if this is the only Children of the Corn movie you've seen.
Please
I need
do.
a voicemail. All right, Bill. I think it's time for some amusing moments.
Yes, please.
Corn on the cob. Here we
Ah,
go. The funniest way to eat food.
yes. The most.
Remember the mini corns that would go into the sides of the cob?
Oh, sure. I never really got to use too many of them, but I know now they make novelty ones. Like I'm pretty sure they make a set of Wolverine blades
Oh,
that you
even
can
better.
that you can eat your corn on the cob with. And you can be the best you are at what you eat.
Well, I'll go first. I just think we've talked about it a lot. The idea of using corn stalks as a killer. The
Hmm.
CGI is bad. It's when you said it right on the head. This is a hack job of some other film, and they're like, "Oh, okay, we've got the IP to Children of the Corn. Well, let's just pay some CGI and we'll throw corn in that way, and then we'll splice in some corn in other scenes in other places."
So yeah, and I had the brief hope at the beginning that once I saw the corn, I'm like, okay, you cheap ass movie. If you're gonna weaponize this corn in a fun and exciting way, like say the corn stalk shot a corn cob into somebody's mouth and it
Yes,
popped and they blew up
yes,
from popcorn, like I would
yes.
have laughed. I would have appreciated that. Now, and then I was a little confused because I kept thinking, is the corn alive? Are the kids controlling the corn? If the kids had controlled the corn, that would have been cool.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm still not totally sure who. Like, yeah, it looked bad. Let's just put it that way.
It did look very bad, and I can't quite figure out what they used in Tiffany's bathtub corn fighting scene. It
Yeah.
looked like giant pieces of spinach and not corn. Like there's no corn in that. Can you imagine if the tub had filled up with corn and she
Oh,
can't get out and it's all the little kernels are just choking her? That would have been fun.
it would have been great. Instead, we got like kelp, seaweed.
You're exposing me to these horror movies has really changed me. Now I'm rooting for like the better death scene. Going, come on,
Yeah.
movie.
Come on. I need to see someone killed better.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you have, Bill? What's an amusing moment?
Uh, One of mine is when Jamie is on one of her 10,000 trips through this weird building with
Oh, God.
no weapon whatsoever and no reason to be doing what she's doing. She goes down in the basement and she basically finds a grow lab,
Uh
but
huh.
it's not for anything like, you know, medicinal herbs of the sort. It's just the big corn room. But the lab has a sign on the door that says, "Do not enter," in hand scrawled Sharpie on a piece of dirty cardboard. And she looks at it, and there's a big old lock on the door that's open.
Mm
Lock's
hmm.
open. And so she just takes the sign down and walks on in. And my thought was, so we just operate on the honor system in the house from hell when we
I
put up
guess.
signs to protect our privacy? what the hell? And why is it unlocked? It's not like anybody broke it open and she was, oh, this is broken. I'm going to go in and see what's happening. Nah, it's just because the guy that locked it shows up 2 minutes later and yells at her and relocks the lock.
Yep. A stoner with a bad memory? Come on.
Yeah. I mean, it's like having a big old pack of Post-it notes on your desk and they're gone by lunchtime. Like, you know you took it.
Yeah.
You know Phil down in cubicle 4 took it. You
Phil,
can't trust anybody.
put an order request in like the rest of us, or go to Home Depot and get it yourself. Not Home Depot.
Exactly.
Office Depot.
Exactly.
Bill, I can't side with you enough on that. And I think similarly, if we're talking about weird choices, the house as a thing, when the cop that Jamie's working with the whole time decides to ask her out on a date while on an investigation with her, might be one of the funniest choices of this movie. Not only is it like obviously in poor taste, but also there's plenty of other time if you feel like this spark and this connection is being made to do that. And it doesn't have to be at this moment during an investigation.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Detective Armbrister is not the best detective because not only does he not read the room that way, but luckily for him, the script says she likes you.
Yeah.
He clearly doesn't know how old people work. When Jamie says her grandmother's been missing for a while and she's been gone overnight, and he looks at her and goes, well, maybe she's just out somewhere. It's like, old people don't go out overnight. No. They're home by 7. That's when Wheel comes on, you fool. Yep. Everybody knows this.
They need their soup and they need their stories.
Come on, Armbrister. Raise your game.
Also, whoever's scripting this thing, like, you got to give your characters easier names. Armbrister? No, just Armin. You know, just give me Brister. Give me anything. Like,
yeah.
Come on.
Detective Steele. Just come on. Go with that. Go with the hard metal as your last name. You can't fail.
Hack Steel.
Hackstone.
Hackstone, that's what it was. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh man. All right, Bill, what's your final amusing moment?
Oh, well, I'm looking at this building and it's got the big sign where it was building a condo and it's the big future, everything's going to be great when we build it. I can't imagine why the Hampton Arms was such a failure as a condominium. And then I thought to myself, well, maybe because you built it 20 feet from a railroad track had something to do with it.
Quite possibly.
Like the beginning of the movie, when Grandma runs out, there's the sound of a train, and there's a train around.
Yup.
But when you finally see evidence of this train going, you pan over, and the lot that they shot this on was probably about 24 by 60, and the railroad tracks basically go right past the front door of the Hampton Arms. Yep. So not the best planning for your high-end living establishment that you're trying to put up, which also kind of explains why the cornfield is only 8 by 8, because it's right up against the tracks.
Urban sprawl, man. Urban sprawl. Grandma would not be able to sleep next to that train. So she'd be making lots of phone calls to her, to Armbrister.
It would also explain it because everybody in the building should be murderous.
Yeah.
Living next to this racket all night long.
Absolutely. Well, Bill, you know what time it is. We got to rate this film. Remind people how we do that.
We do this with a segment we've come up with called 5 Nights for $1. Maybe once upon a time when video stores were still a thing, you might have wandered into one. And somewhere in the back or near the front by the register would be a rack of movies, and they would say something like 5 Nights for $1. You could pay $1, take your movie, keep it one night, keep it for 5 nights, up to you. That's the bargain. So we rate our movies based on that. They're rated upon the movie itself. No sequels, no anything else, nothing else we've watched. Nothing at all. Just this movie. You've come in, you have put down your $1, you've gone home with Children of the Corn Revelation, you've watched it. How many of those 5 nights are you going to keep this movie? What kind of impact did this corny, corny movie have on you? And who would you like to go first, Rob? Or would you like me to go first?
I might as well just go first, Bill, because I chose it. I put you through it. I want to give you the last word. When I started podcasting about movies, Bill, I had so much hope. I believed that everyone making a movie really wanted to make something that they thought was entertaining and fun. And whether it's been Pumpkin Spice Podcast, Bill and Rob's, any other movies, Magical at the Movies, I've always said, give me and my friends a decimal point of what your budget is for this thing, and we would make something more entertaining. I now realize that obviously there's so much more that goes into it, especially if you're making something professional. But still, I still stand by the fact that, like, you and I have enough connections that if we could get the money, we would be able to pen a script, you and I, and find the means to produce something that is 90 minutes long and 90% more entertaining than this. This is a pure example of a movie that I'm not regretful that I put it on this list, because the whole point of this was to movies that I have access to that I'm forcing us to watch to see what's happening. It's part of the thesis of the podcast, right? It has to be bright and shiny for us to, like, put something new on here.
Yes.
Or put something that we know we like or have a reason for watching. But this, it's everything you said, it's everything I said. This was going to be something else. It's a Frankenstein of different scripts. It got rushed. It's got a low budget. They're trying to retain IP probably. And it just resulted in a movie-like substance, but not a film. So for that, unfortunately, Children of the Corn Revelation gets one night. How about you?
You've said it perfectly. And I recall back to when we first started doing this show in this format, we made the comment of a lot of the time nobody sets out to make a bad movie, because you can see the fun in a lot of a B, C, D, Z list movies. They lean into it. And in that sense, they can be a good time, even if they're a bad movie. This movie clearly was just made because it had to be. I won't go so far as to say they set out to make a bad movie, but they clearly did not set out to make a good movie.
Yeah.
So it's a patch job. It's pieces here and there. I can say there's a little bit of performance in there from some of the actors that is interesting. I can't lay it all on them because they had nothing to work with, but I can't really give it any high marks. So when you waste your 5 minutes of Michael Ironside on set and do nothing with him at all, nothing, not even bring him in as a spectral spirit that explains the ending, I can't go with you. You've done nothing and you haven't tried it all. So
you're only hurting yourself.
You are only hurting yourself. And so Children of the Corn Revelation is a one night movie for me because I watched it for one night, but I had all the fun in the world talking about it on this show with you. Yes. And that's what I'll say. If you find yourself in the vicinity of this movie, grab a friend or a bystander. Don't go through it alone.
No.
And that's the only way you can salvage any fun out of this terrible, terrible waste of celluloid.
Well, Bill, we bring another season of the pod to a close, but we should let people know, we might have some new friends joining the Patreon at this point. What it looks like once we get like this close to the end of a calendar year. Generally, you and I like to just do the seasons through the year, but towards the end, we start getting into that like crazy travel holiday season where it's not as easy to plot out a schedule. So we like to do this is our grab bag season, or grab bag time of year. We're going to do a Thanksgiving movie, we're going to do a Christmas movie, we're going to have guests on. So anything that doesn't necessarily fit into like a larger series that we want to get covered on the pod, now is our time. So there's still going to be content coming out. It just may not be as maybe something will come out on a Tuesday and not a Wednesday.
True.
But we do have some fun stuff to look forward to, and Bill will not be announcing it at this moment. But in one of these bonus episodes coming up before the end of the year, be on the lookout for what Bill's next series will be in 2024, because I am salivating for it personally.
One of my favorite things to do is to sit and look at the big spreadsheet of ideas and just go, what will perplex and thrill Rob Schulte? What diamonds and horrible gemstones can I pull out of this
Which
and have
cubic
him
zirconia
watch? But the great part is you didn't subject me to this movie. It's all done out of fun. So it can't be all that bad. But I am trying to work up a new zinger of a season. So that's always a fun part for me. And Rob's right. We will have some fun stuff. It's kind of our silly season through the end of the year. And we just do some stuff that we like. We are going to have some guests. And I'm really looking forward to what we do have. So stay tuned, everybody. We're going to have some fun.
Let me ask you this, Bill, before we cap it. You're not a horror person. You're not a spooky person. I'm going to recount all the things we watched for Robo-ween, and I'd love for you to tell me which one was your surprisingly like, this almost turned me. This almost made me a spooky fan. We got fear.com.
No.
Remember
I'm just going to tell you no.
Candyman 2, Farewell to the Flesh, Soul Survivor, Arlington Road, The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, and now Children of the Corn Revelation.
Soul Survivor. Soul Survivor was the gem of the season.
Yeah, I think so too.
It really came through as a fun movie. And while I'm by no means steeped in the horror genre even now, I have a whole new appreciation from it, especially from hanging out with Rob because he loves it so much. And honestly, that's one of the great things about movies is you hang out with somebody that likes the thing and you don't know. It's kind of fun to give it a shot. You might wind up liking it, kind of like our show, which is why we ask everybody, share it around. Anybody hasn't heard about it, they're looking for something to do with movies, give it a watch, because if Rob Schulte can get me to watch this many horror movies in a row, anything's possible.
And that's why I've got my fingers crossed that Bill will choose something that just ignites something inside of me. Like, I remember back in the day, Bill, I never thought I was going to like a movie like First Blood or First Blood Part 2. Totally different types of movies. But now some of my favorite films out there. You know, and I can only hope that more of that happens, because it had, I mean, best of the best. You showed me that movie. Love it. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely. Same here, because we've done some really neat stuff and it's fun to try all the new things. And we're all different. We're going along. I'm learning to like movies that I didn't think I liked as well before. And of course, vice versa. But I'm ready to give a lot more genres a try and trying, especially these zinger B movies that we've seen a lot for. I was getting into it when we started this. So this has been a real fun reason to dig into some of these concepts and go, yeah, that sounds insane. Let me text this to Rob.
Well, Bill, it's been a great adventure. I'd love to say thank you to Rob Adler, our editor, producer, doing great work over there. If you are on the fence of being a patron and you're listening to this because a friend sent you the raw audio for some reason, pay the $5. Help us get Rob's student loans knocked down. And, go buy Rob Adler's album, brooklynfrequency.bandcamp.com. Go buy that album if you can't support any more, if you're tapped out on Patreon. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. We'll see you soon with some bonus content. Bill, I'll talk to you then.
See you, Robs.